Well, Pastor Casey mentioned it, and that this is the first week of November, and he said that 2024 is next week or something. It's true. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. When you walk out of here, it will be December 13th. And I know many of you feel like that's impossible, but others of you are like, that seems so early. Because we just continue to move over and over again. Let me ask you this question. How many of you have already bought a Christmas present? I see hands are going up all over the room. Praise God. Thank you. How many of you are done with your Christmas shopping? Okay. Oh, one hand. I see one right here and then the back. Jesus sees that hand. Thank you so much. Actually, we had one in the first service as well, and so we'll try to connect you guys, and you guys can do a discipleship group of like, here's how to choose gifts, and just kind of go from there. I, like most dads, am very excited on Christmas morning to see what we all got each other, and so. But can we just have a moment, and I don't want any of your lip, Alex Castaneda, can we have a moment to just mourn Thanksgiving? What about Thanksgiving? Why did Halloween is like candy, doesn't make you feel good. You dress up, you're trying to get scary. It's not quite cool enough here in Florida yet for us all to be wearing head-to-toe costumes. You're trying to put your kid in a mask. The kid's like, I don't wear a mask. And you're like, well, then the outfit doesn't make sense without the mask. I was walking around without Barbie at the Fall Fest. Everybody's like, interesting cowboy outfit. I'm like, it's totally goes good. Thanksgiving is you sit, you eat, you wear stretchy pants, and you watch football. And we're all like, let's get that out of here. I'm like, I'll take it. Well, now, I'm not trying to yuck your yums, okay? Alex, Rebecca, if you want to have your Christmas trees up 4 days ago, I got no qualms with that at all. I mean, I saw Sharon put on Instagram, like her family, like her and Nick just got down all of their Christmas trees. If you know anything about Nick Watts, you are not surprised to see organized bin, or bin with multiple organizational bins inside of it. Backup lights in case these go, row. I got 3 wheels of lights, and we're like, it goes there, and it goes over there. Maybe a wreath on the front door. Because I feel like with lights, you got to be all in. Or like, just don't even try. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just be messing around. People are like, what if we completely coordinated our lighting scene to like, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, beep, beep. And I'm just like, on. You know, like, because we've already blown Thanksgiving out of the water, and now we're going right to Christmas. We're already, or as the Filipinos call it, the burr months. So we're already in the burr months right there. We've gone through our first burr, second burr, and now January's coming. And January comes, it's time to set some what? Yeah, resolution. Thank you. Okay, good. It's going great. Come on, guys. You got to have an extra hour and a half of between service time change and everything. So we're going to talk. So the whole idea of what we're going to talk about, how many people have ever set a resolution before? Okay, the others of you. How many of you have set a resolution and never set a resolution? Which is setting a resolution. The snake eating its own tail right there. You did. It's called an Ouroboros. That's what it is. It's a snake eating each other's shell. And we have to think about the fact that we try to do this, we try to change all these behaviors, but we don't always change our motivations and our thoughts behind it. So instead of waiting until next year to change everything in some arbitrary thing, we're going to talk for the rest of the year about trying to get ready for next year now. We're going to be looking at some of the most important and some of the most challenging areas of our lives when it comes to getting these stresses and these pain points in our lives, and how we can actually start to be able to serve God in these areas and to actually not just set resolutions, but to actually have transformation in our life. Now, the first place that we're going to start, how many people have ever heard about money? Has anyone heard about money? Yes, okay. Pastor Mason we'll figure that out afterwards, but yes, money. Has anybody ever had to pay a bill? Or not pay a bill, but to be like, I can't hear you, you're breaking up. And it's like, it's a letter. You can't lose service over a letter. Has anybody ever been concerned about where your money's coming from, or how much money is coming in, or how much you've saved, or what the job is that you're getting it from, or your house, or any of these things? Have any of those concerns ever been in your life? Only all the time, right? So to start next year now, we're going to start with one of these pressure points that are in your life, and to talk about how our love and obedience to Jesus should change how we relate to and what our interaction is with money, finances, and possessions. To do that, we're going to go to what the source of our money problems are. We're going to read from a letter in the New Testament written by the Apostle Paul. Most of the time when Paul writes letters, he writes them to a group of smaller house churches that are in a particular city because they didn't have any big buildings to meet at, so they only could meet from home to home. This letter is a little different because he's actually writing to one of his disciples that he put in charge of one of the churches. And so he's instructing one of his disciples how to look at the hearts and to be careful about what's going on in the lives of the people in the church. And he's picking it up in chapter 6, and he's talking about people who are, not necessarily prosperity Christians or prosperity preachers, but maybe prosperity Christians, which we're going to explain is not exactly what you think it means, but people who have tried to use God and use biblical principles and come to God so that they can get all of their money problems alleviated. And Paul describes these people in chapter 6, verse 5 as always causing trouble. These people always cause trouble because their minds are corrupt and they've turned their backs on the truth. To them, a show of godliness, a show of I come to church, I raise my hands, I sing, I give, I write blessings, praying for that on Facebook or Instagram. I give a praying hands emoji when somebody needs it. But they're only doing that. They're doing that show of godliness because they want to stay on God's good side as a way to become materially wealthy. But see, actual godliness, true godliness, with a contentment, with a thankfulness and satisfaction of where we are, that is actually itself great wealth. Not great financial, material wealth, but of great value and blessing in our life. After all, we brought nothing in with us when we came into the world, and you can't take anything with you when you leave. So if you have enough food and clothing, let us be content. Let us be content. But people who long to be rich. It's important to understand when we're reading these next couple of passages, Paul does not say those who are rich. He's not talking about what's in your checking account. He's talking about what's in your heart. He's not talking about the size of your house or the number of cars that you have. He's talking about the things that are in your mind, the things that you desire and hunger for. The people who long to be rich. They fall into a temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires and plunge themselves into ruin and destruction. We talk all the time about, man, why is this like this? Who did this to me? In the words of one of our great cultural pastors, hi, it's you. You're the problem, it's you. Taylor Swift is a pastor. Oh, she's pastoring people. I'm not saying it's a good church that you should go, but I'm just saying she's pastoring people. And we always want to talk about, why is this happening to me? Sometimes things happen to you, but sometimes you happen to you too. Because of a longing, because of a desire, because of a hunger for the love of money. I can't promise this will be the last time I'm asking you to raise your hand. How many of you have ever heard the phrase, money is the root of all evil? The love of money, the hunger, the desire. Love, in the way the scriptures describes it as it describes a method of sacrifice to bring honor and glory to a thing. So when it talks about the love of money, it's not I love having a house, I love having my bills taken care of. It means the kind of, I will sacrifice myself to bring glory and honor to this thing because it will be the thing that saves me, satisfies me, and sets my life correct. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And some of people craving, not having, craving money, have wandered from the true faith and have pierced themselves with many sorrows. I hope you heard over and over again, because I've made a lot of emphasis on it, not how you spend your money, but how you think about and consider your money, how you consider possessions and provisions. This whole message, this whole series is not about the source of your money, but the source of your life. Because there's no way for us to escape the material world. We're going to be in it. And so we have to live, we have to interact, we have to make choices, we have to engage in certain behaviors. And I don't know if there is anything that I have spent the last 14 years as the pastor of this church and over 20 years in ministry doing more than trying to convince people that you do not behave or earn your way into a relationship with God. But because you're in a relationship with God, you should have different behaviors and actions. And we think it gets so confusing, so we either fully embrace the action or fully embrace the forgiveness. And when we have fully embraced the forgiveness and don't figure out how to properly interact with our actions as a result, we get frustrated that our lives are falling apart. And when we fully embrace the actions as the thing that are the most important, we will do all of the right things, but we will be crumbling on the inside because we have never experienced the grace and mercy of Jesus. So yes, I am going to talk about your money. But more than anything, I want to talk about your heart and your hope. We don't separate those two out, but knowing which one goes first is going to be incredibly crucial to living a life that is not overwhelmed with burden and religiosity. It might be have still hard choices, but that burden and religiosity, because I actually know what my source is in life. I know who gave me air to breathe. I know who gave me a mind to rhyme and 2 hype feet. Man, that was better than y'all gave a reaction. I know who gave me the ability to be reconciled with God, and it wasn't me. It wasn't my boss. It wasn't a senator. It wasn't a tax cut. It wasn't a dividend on an investment. I know that the reason I am reconciled to God is because of the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. I know that He is the one who forgave my sins. I know that Jesus didn't die to meet all of my earthly needs only. He died so my greatest need, the bill that I had run up that no points, no cash back solution could satisfy, the great debt that I carried, that I all carried. When I got married to Kelly, she brought savings, I brought debt. Didn't tell her till after. No, I'm just kidding. I told her before. I got that paid in full by the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. And so because of that, now I can rebuild my life from the inside out in every area. And now we got November. We got to talk about your faith. We got to talk about the church. We got to talk about work. We got to talk about rest. We got to talk about time. We got to talk about health. We got to talk about your mental health. We got all these things that should be different, not to get to God, but as a result of a transforming interaction with Jesus by which He makes us new from the inside out. You know, the action that you take in salvation is this: you get out of the way and allow His grace and mercy to finally have a work inside of you. Our new behaviors, our new values, our new perspective, our motivation changes now the methods that we take. Because we all want to change our behaviors. Those of you who are skinny, you want to get bigger. Those of you who are big, you want to get skinny. Some people want to stay in the middle. It's not that many. God bless y'all. You're all doing better than the rest of us. Some of y'all want to take more time off. Nobody wants to take less time off. I vacation too much. I think I'm relaxing too much. Or maybe there are some performative people who feel like they're not doing enough and they need to continue to perform. That's not a great thing either. I don't know any of those people. I'm not one. And we want to change all these behaviors without changing our motivations. And you put a new behavior on top of an old motivation, and you go, see, this behavior didn't work. That behavior is not designed to work with that motivation. They are incongruent. I had a little bit of a problem with camera 1. Camera one, camera two, camera one. This morning, we literally had a screw loose. The camera, not any of the people on our teams or me, but the camera literally had a screw loose, and we have boxes of screws in the back. So it's like, let's go get the boxes of screws that I have diligently, organized and put the labels on, and they have it on the bottom and the top and everything like that. It's not OCD, it's neat, okay? And I pull them all out, and we have ones that are the right size, and I don't know if you know this about screws, but they have different threads. That was a coarse thread, we had fine thread. Both machine screws, coarse thread, fine thread. So we could get the one that fits, and we could have made it happen. But do you know what would have happened if we put the two together? It would have started to strip, wouldn't it? It would have actually ruined the connection between the two of them because we were putting something that looked like it fit a little bit, but we were putting the wrong thing on top of the other one. How many times are we trying to put a new behavior on top of an old motivation and then blaming the behavior as not something that works when we never did the requisite work to dig into the why? And because there is a tendency to use the Bible, use Jesus, use Christianity to better your own life. Now, people go, yeah, I'm so sick of these Instagram preachers and all these prosperity preachers. Let me tell you something. We are reading from 1 Timothy that Paul says, people are using the gospel to their own gains and means. So if you think that this is a new phenomenon since the like and reshare button, I would encourage you that this is probably written somewhere around 60 to 65 AD. So only for the last 2,000 years have people been trying to use a form of godliness to be able to do this. So we are not, now I believe that your life might get better as a result of following Jesus, changing your motivations and changing the behavior as well. For some of you, it might get worse. For some of you, it might get worse because God is calling you to go to a nation that maybe is not as receptive as Cuba or Wales, or is asking you to speak in a way to someone in love and kindness and evangelism that does not bring about blessing and honor and favor in your life. If you think that God only is there to be able to bring you blessing in your life, I'm not sure what God you're following. It's probably not the one that the apostles in the New Testament were actually following because things didn't always go great for them, but they were obedient to Jesus and they understood the reason they could do that and have discomfort in this earthly life was because they understood from the inside out that something was greater and more powerful and more beautiful than what they were already engaged in. So this series is not about getting your life in order, but getting your heart in order so that your life might follow suit. A new way that comes from a new life, that you daily then pick up your cross and stay on the path of new life and not go back to old death. This is not about finding a new way to get the things that everybody else is already after. It's about how that new way changes how you see the world, and it hopefully changes even what you want from the world. Change how you see the world, not change how you get what the world also wants. But the people who want to use God to get what everybody else wants, verse 5, these people are always causing trouble. Their minds are corrupt. They have turned their backs on the truth. To them, a show of godliness is just a way to become wealthy. Pastor Mason and I were talking about this in between the services because we had a lot of time. I actually finished early in the first service, and it's like, well, that was the wrong day to do that. Because true godliness with contentment is in itself great wealth. So you might be a person with little worldly wealth, but yet be a person of great wealth. Because the valuable things that you have are not measured in balances and bonuses. If the blessings of God in your life always come, if the blessings of God in your life are only the things you can deposit and spend, you are missing that you are a fullness of person. If you're only trying to use God to get, like, look how following God can bless your life. 5 practical tips to, 6 practical tips to, biblical principles. But you can't use the principle without the person who the principle was created to honor. Now, the truth of God is so powerful, it might still work, but all you are doing is doing a thing without the person, and the person is actually more valuable than whatever the thing will give you. I know your spending power because we're talking about this message in real life. Your spending power has probably decreased. Some of you, it's gone up. It's really been the upper middle class that the people have gotten hosed over the last. And you go, oh, you're talking about government stuff? Like, no, I'm just talking about we live in a world where interest rates and different stuff like that, it's gone up and it's gone down. I know your rent may be up. I know if you financed your house like we did in 2021, then you're never moving. That's just it. You're never going anywhere. I don't have to worry about any inheritance for my daughter. It's my house because we're just never giving that bad boy up. But I'd offer, if you think that more money will solve all of your problems, I think you need to reconsider what your biggest problems actually are. The source of your money problems might be thinking that money is the source of your biggest problems. The source of your money problems might be thinking that money is the source of all of your problems. Because using God or a show of godliness to become wealth, you're always causing trouble and you lay a trap for yourself. Change your heart and mind before you attempt to change your hand. Change your heart and mind before you attempt to change your hand. And when you do change your heart, then you have to ask, how might I serve as a steward? Because money is still a part of life. Like, we're not going to get away from it. You go, yeah, I hate money. I don't want to have the love of money or the root of money or the whatever of money. I just want to run away from it. You can't. We still live in this society. Like, there's just no way around that. And you go, I could be like one of those monks who just lived, with nothing out in the desert. Yeah, and you know what happened to those guys? They started getting into contests against each other to see who could give up the most stuff and to be the most pious and to be the most removed from physical things. I wonder if anything was going wrong in their hearts while that was happening. To run from it is not going to help, but to run through it with the grace and mercy of God and the right mindset. So let me ask you a question about your mindset. Which one of these questions more accurately describes your mindset? When it comes to giving, do you think, what parts of my money should I give to God? Or do you think, how am I using the money God gave me? What parts of my money do I give to God? Or do you think, how am I using the money God has allowed me to have? Do you think whenever you give, whenever you take somebody out to lunch or do anything, are you giving away part of your income? Or do you think you are responsibly caring for someone else's money? Now, the check comes to you either way, but how you think about it will determine not only what you do, but how you feel about what you do. I could come in here and guilt manipulate you and scripture you to death to give, to serve, to do all those kind of things. And you might do all the right things on the outside, but on the inside, you're burning up. What good? Where's the light and easy yoke that Jesus promised? But if we only talk about the light and easy yoke and never do the thing, then we go, well, where are the results and the blessings of following God in our lives? So heart and then to hand. Because when you become a Christian, your relationship with everything, you go, this? Yes. With your entertainment, with your work, with your time, with your energy, with your thoughts, with yourself, with your purposes, with your destiny, with your desire, with everything that there is, it is now submitted to the lordship of Jesus. And when it comes to money, our relationship with money has to change more than, okay, now everything stays the same, but now I give a little bit of my portion of income to the church and I'm satisfied. Oh, isn't our life in Christ so much bigger than that? That's it? That's all we change? Oh, now I give a little bit? Oh, no, there's a whole world of love and obedience and alignment and agreement to unlock. And our ability to engage in true transformation, financial transformation, occurs when we realize we are not giving God an allowance. We are stewarding His money. There's a big difference between can I have $10 and here's $90. There's a big difference between like, can I have 10 of your dollars? Hey, will you properly spend 90 of my dollars? Oh, I'd love to give that a shot. Don't worry, not that kind of sermon example today. See, a steward is a person who manages another's property or financial affairs, who administers anything as the agent of another or others. So we know that it's not actually ours. Why? Because again, as Paul said in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 7, we brought nothing into this world with us. You didn't come out arms full. Come out of the womb in your little Brooks Brothers onesie. Hello, mother. Please polish my monocle. You know, I mean, like, and I've done enough funerals. They don't pile stuff in there when you go. And we can't take anything. So if you have enough food and clothing, be content. Now to be content with your material possessions is sometimes an incredibly un-Western, un-American thing to say. Our mindset is much more, you can have it all. How many of you, this is a mental exercise, have it all? I have a lot of blessings. No. Do you have it all? No. In fact, I think most of you in here would be more aware of your lack. So who told you that you didn't have enough? Who told you your house wasn't big enough? Who told you you're not providing enough for your kids? Who told you you're not taking them to enough things? Who told you that you're not giving them enough? Who told you you're not providing enough fun? Who told you that you're not spending enough? Who told you you're not investing enough? Who told you that you're not loving enough? Who told you any of these things? And was it Jesus? Because otherwise, now, instead of being able to be content because of a cultural, worldly expectation to be placed on you, a thing where you would have been content and been okay now leads to disappointment. And what changed? Nothing actually changed in your life, just the expectations and the person who was telling you how you were supposed to believe. We're going to get to this in a second, and there's nothing wrong with having material possessions. But have you ever been at a place of contentment? Guys, I also would like the church to be bigger. I also would never like to, like Voldemort, not say the name of 3 services. I would also like to have, I would also like to have. And you know what? I always forget to then be thankful for. A friend, Mason and I have a mutual friend in Atlanta. He can't get a building to save his life. It has nothing to do with his lack of faith. It has nothing to do with the lack of this. And every time I talk with him, I come in here and I touch the wall and I go, oh, thank God. I would love to have more space for more people to meet Jesus. I would, but oh, thank God. It's not because God loves me and doesn't love him. I don't understand why any of those works, but I don't want to try to figure out why it works. I want to say thank you. I pray, praise and offering, and with thanksgiving, Philippians tells us, with thanksgiving. My whole internal life gets changed because of Jesus. And then my whole motivation for getting and using money changes because of my relationship with Jesus. And so then I don't have to be like these people who long to be rich. And they fall into temptation. And they are trapped. Listen, do you see a trap coming? No. That's why it's called a trap. I have had people confess lust, anger, adultery, bitterness, selfishness. I've never had anybody confess to me greed. Now, there are the odds that I've never met a greedy person, but I do have a mirror. Is it possible that we've all trapped ourselves? We've all fallen into the same trap, like trying to ask a fish what water is. And we keep plunging ourselves into ruin and destruction. We don't love money. We love what money can get for us. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for this. I'm trying to do this. But are you? Because some people craving money have wandered into the true faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows. Other translations will call it like thorns and thistles. to walk into a briar patch on your own and say, who stabbed me? Not because of a certain spending habit, but because of a certain spending desire. When we long to be rich. See, if we don't long to be rich, then we go, I'm now no longer trying to keep up with anyone. And not trying to keep up with everyone and not worried about what everybody else thinks of you now determines the kind of jobs you apply for, the kind of hours that you work, the promotions you are or are not willing to take, and the kind of work you are or are not willing to do. New Life students, this affects the kind of college that you're going to go to. This affects why do I have to get good grades so I can go to a good college? Why do I have to go to a good college so that I can get a good job? Why do I have to get a good job? Because that's the only way to be happy in life and truly provide. See how that mindset right down there at the bottom just affected the next 45, 50 years of your life? You take a promotion that gets you 5%, 10% more, and you now have to spend 20% less time with your family. You take a 15% promotion at work, and now you get 15% more finances, and you get 10% less time with your family, 6% less time you're able to spend at the church, and 20% less time honoring God because your devotional time has been completely blown away by your travel. Now listen, I ain't talking about going from no job to some job. If you're going from no job to some job, you say, thank you, Lord, you get in that car, you drive, you listen to that audio Bible, you pray in the Spirit, you're like, just go. I'm talking about like, hey, let me weigh these things out. You are a whole person. Weigh out the wholeness of what those things are, and not just, of course you have to take it, it's more money. Doesn't mean more money is bad, but don't let that be the only thing upon which you desire. I am no longer seeing myself as the source of my provision. So we have an active participation and work with it, but where does that opportunity come from? Stewardship from God. Thus, I am no longer looking to see how can I pay all of my bills and have some left over, but now I am starting to ask the question, what bills do I even need to have? And I want to give you 3 practical ways to be able to think about it. See, I told you, this is almost all about your heart and your life. And if I give you the practicality at the end, hopefully you are hungry for it. But if I lead with the practicality, we may not ever get to your heart. Number 1, you got to be responsible. Seriously, do you know how much is coming in and how much is going out every month? Last service, we got a loud no. And I was like, okay. Do you know how much is coming in and how much you've committed to go out every month? Do you know the level of responsibility that you've committed yourself to? What's the last time you checked? And when's the last time you actually considered whether all of those things are the right things? Listen, Netflix used to be 4 cents. Now I'm paying to add people from on other households because I always obey the law of the land and I've never tried to sneak a password. That's a gray area, permissible and beneficial. We're still debating in seminary, and theologians, many things have looked into that, and they're not really sure. It's like the speed limit, you know? Do you need all of them? Well, I watch this one show that comes out every 4 years, so I have this $10 thing on my, like, you need everything? If you have enough food and clothing, verse 8, be content. But people who long to be rich, they'll fall into a temptation and are trapped by foolish and harmful desires. Signing up for all these subscription services, they may not be harmful, but they might be foolish. That's just an easy thing to talk about. And it plunges you into a ruin and a destruction. Where does offering trust to God through the church financially come from in that? What about through your mortgage? What about through your car payments? What about, do you need that car? And you go, yeah, I don't know what's coming in and I don't know what's going out. What do I do about that? Listen, tonight we are starting 4 weeks of Financial Peace University. You don't know how, nobody ever taught you, I understand. This is not a class, at least when I was growing up, that they had in school. You go, I need help with this. We have help tonight, 6 o'clock here in the lobby. And I believe for the amount of people who we have yet to be able to sign up, we can do it for free for you. It's $100. You go, oh, well, what about childcare? We ain't got childcare tonight. Give us till next week. We go, oh, I guess we can't come. No, if you're a single parent, like ask a friend, just tonight, can you watch my kids? Can I go to Financial Peace University? If you're a couple, I don't know if that means whoever wins gets to go or gets to stay home. I don't know which one it is. But if you're going, oh, I wish there was a way, but everything doesn't work out perfect. Oh, we have plans. Are they people you like? Then maybe it's a chance to be able to cancel, and they'll trust you in it. You didn't like them? You're welcome. Like, I'm doing everything I can here to help you. You want to be responsible, and you don't know how to do it, and you go, I wish I knew. Listen, I can't take a message and explain it to you, but I can give you this opportunity to take tonight. If you can find a way to make it happen, you still have an agency and a responsibility to properly steward what has been given to you in your care. Here is $100 free resource right there in church community. I don't know what else to do from there. So you want to take responsibility. And once you've taken all your responsibilities, you know what it is okay? It is okay to do a little bit of recreation. Don't be so afraid to have fun. I'm trying to loosen up a little bit in this. My fear of the future, we're never gonna have enough. We're always working towards something where we can then have enough money to finally enjoy it, and then you're too old to be able to enjoy it. Like, life is for the living. But I'm able to more fully enjoy my recreation when I know I've gotten my responsibilities taken care of. If I don't know that, then I'm out having fun and being like, isn't this fun? I'm like, I don't know, it's awfully expensive. You know, like, is it fun? Is it? Not really, not right now. You know, like, it's like that old Jim Gaffigan line, like, now I know why Dad was always mad on family vacations, you know, like. And I do want to let people know that it is not mandated by the state of Florida to have a Disney pass at all times when you get your driver's license. But everybody else goes to Disney. Yeah, but you haven't. Have you taken care of your responsibilities? Now listen, if you have taken care of your responsibilities and you, as an adult, want to go hang out with things that are meant for 2- and 3-year-olds. No, I'm just, yeah. It's too easy. Because you know what it is for other people? Shopping, going out on the boat, going golfing, like whatever it is, shoes. Where's my gym people out? Shoes, people, you know, like Andrew's like, whoa, hey, this is getting a little too. You know what? If you've been faithful to your responsibilities and you want to be on StockX and you want to see what those shoes are, take advantage and have fun. Life is for the living. We do not believe that the spiritual is good and the material is to be shunned and to be bad. God made you. You like sitting outside on the back? Guess what? Go sit out on the back. You like going out on a boat? Go out on a boat. The physical world is not to be shunned, but if you are never faithful in stewarding your responsibilities properly, you're never really going to be able to engage in that recreation. And maybe you need to say no to some of the unresponsible responsibilities that you've had so that you might actually be able to do these things. But now you're not spending the recreation because everybody else does it and I've got to keep up with them. You know, I have been a faithful steward of God. And once you had, life is for the living. Enjoy yourself. And number 3, seed sowing. What are you sowing and what return will that bring? I mean a little bit about giving, but I don't mean only that. And I want you to hear me in this. Mason, you can go ahead and come up. This is Jesus saying this in Luke chapter 6, verse 38. He said, you give and you'll receive. And he says, your gift will be returned to you in full. So you take a little scoop and you pour it out, but Jesus takes that scoop, he presses it down, he shakes it to make more room. That's how I get my coffee scoops. Press it down. Running over, pouring in your lap. You pour out a cup, you go, Jesus, here's my big cup. And Jesus goes, you use your big cup? Now I'm gonna use my Jesus big cup. Proportional in percentages, not ounce to ounce. Dollar for dollar. Is the kingdom the first or the last place you cut when you start going through those responsibilities? Now, yes, I could mean giving to the church, but once you've given, you get, 10% giving, you're like, what, 10%? What's that? How do we do that? Look, go to starting point. We'll talk about it there. You can also then go, hey, now I'm going to take a 1%. I'm at 10% giving to my church. I'm going to take that 1%. I'm going to put that away every single month so that when a mission trip comes up, I've got money ready to sow. When a campus minister needs help, when a missionary needs help, when there's an opportunity to sponsor a compassion child, when I just feel the Spirit of God is saying, buy that person lunch. Just get them a gift card. You don't have to go, oh, I wish I could, but I haven't. Is there anything where you're sowing, going, God, I'm going to sow faithfulness. I'm going to sow generosity. I'm going to sow blessing into people. How's it going to come back? I don't know. Doesn't really matter, because I know my job is to sow, and I trust my God in that way. Because listen, brothers and sisters, if you have enough food and clothing, let us be content. Because if we long to be rich, we'll fall into a temptation, and we can be trapped by many foolish and harmful desires, and they might plunge us who love God into ruin and destruction. I don't believe that's going to remove our salvation. I believe it's going to get us so consumed with worldly and earthly things, we're never able to make an impact and bless and advance the kingdom of God. The love of money, not money, the love of it is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people craving money, wanting to keep up with everybody else, always feeling like they need more and have never had enough, have wandered from faith, true faith, and pierced themselves with many sorrows. The source of your money problems might be thinking that money is the source of all of your problems. Instead, I want to ask you 3 questions, and I hope you find yourself in one of these. The first is, have you clarified the source of your life? Don't jump to money if you haven't made a decision to fully serve and love Jesus. Because all the things that we talked about, how to do that, are a result of following Jesus. And if you have settled on Jesus, have you clarified the source of your provision? Also Jesus. And if you have you taken responsibility? Let's not worry about recreation and seed sowing until we have taken responsibility for God's faithfulness that He's given us to steward. Where do you find yourself needing to take a step of faithfulness, a step of obedience, as a response to the life and to the love and the provision that Jesus has given you?